Welcome to Intuitive Seek. My name is Mary Train, and as an intuitive guide, energy healer, and meditation teacher, I aim to bring you a grounded approach to all things energy and intuition. Everything I share is with the hope to help you remember how your unique power of intuition is your own greatest teacher. Hello and welcome. Welcome to September 2025, your energy impressions for the month ahead. I hope you're doing well. I hope that you are looking forward to moving into September. Now we are moving into the end of the year, technically, but I have found that, and maybe you have too, that September to December can be some of the most active months of the year. And this year does feel like that too, that so much can and may and will happen in September, but also October and November. And it does feel like we've prepared for it. That's so much of what we've learned about ourselves and our physical, emotional, and spiritual health, our nervous system work. So much that we have done and experienced this year has prepared us for this next phase, these next 4 months, but also for September. And that's why I do want to dive into it. Just get right into the energy impressions. And for anyone who is new, welcome. And for anyone who has already listened, welcome back. And a bit of a reminder around how I receive these energy impressions. I go into a really nice, deep meditation with a very strong intention. The intention to receive insight, guidance, clarity, anything in any ways that I can translate to you and us about the energy that we are moving through for the month ahead. And I try my best to translate what I receive in the meditation with the most clarity that I can. But an important part of listening to these energy impressions, I feel, are that you trust your intuition, that you trust what resonates, that you use these energy impressions as a way to get to know how your intuition speaks to you. So if I share something and it feels like I'm speaking to you, that's because it resonates. And if you're listening to one part and you're trying to fit it into your life, oh, maybe not, that's not for you. Like, really trust what resonates. And if you're not sure, just kind of take it with you. And if it does fit later, that's great. So trust yourself over everything else and use this as a way to develop your intuition in that intuitive muscle. All right, so let's get into the energy impressions for September 2025. And I will also share a bit about the week of September 1st at the end of the energy impressions, a little energy update for the week ahead that differed a bit from the specific month. So when I first opened up the meditation for September, receiving clarity around the energy, the scene was very clear. It was digging into sand. We were digging into sand, two hands, digging into the sand, not frantically at all, looking for something. And it felt like finding something valuable. And we did have a similar image a few weeks ago, but this was different in a way that, and maybe some of us are still in this process, and that's what it feels like too. But the difference is that the insight that came with it was work will need to be done this month. Like, we will be doing a lot, but it will be done. Like, it won't be frantic. Like, the work will get done, but it's not in a way of pushing. It's about allowing. It was moving, the sand was moving with our hands in a way that felt like allowing, like when we were digging into the sand, that was our action. But then the sand became kind of like magnetic sand, like that black natural magnetic sand that we were digging through. So even though we were kind of moving things apart, moving the sand apart, it was coming back together as we were finding things in the sand. And the interesting part about the magnetic sand is that feels like a big part of the energy for September, that we may be finding not something physical, it may be our magnetism. We may be finding through our action, through the work we're doing, through living and not overanalyzing or second guessing or being indecisive or doubtful, all of the things that can keep us from just kind of doing things and living our lives. This month, we may find this natural essence of ours, this beautiful energy that is magnetism, that is magnetic, that is allowing that what we are meant for, who we are meant for, where we are meant for, that it can find us, that it is being drawn to us because we are finding, remembering, reclaiming this magnetism, this natural magnetism. And that's what this month feels like, that we are going to be finding that through a lot of different ways. And it may not always be the obvious ways. And because that magnetic sand was so specific of an image, I wanted to look up what it is. And I did love that because the magnetic sand, the iron sand, as it's referred to mostly, is part of September because of how it is formed. As I was saying in the beginning, that we've kind of prepared for this month of September, this kind of big energy month. And with the magnetic sand, not only is it a symbol of our own magnetism, our own essence, there's symbolism around how it naturally forms. It's formed through volcanic activity, huge volcanic eruptions, through a lot of different hard weather and erosion, and through water, and through currents and waves, and all the pretty harsh, intense conditions that a volcanic rock has been eroded and formed over so many millions of years. And because of where it is deposited, when that magnetic rock is formed, then it finds a home. And it's deposited in places where water and wind have had a lot of activity. That all of this weathering and erosion and energetic activity creates this iron oxide, this magnetic, naturally magnetic material from all of this deep, impactful change. So this month, could there be some big expansion in our energy to show and share our natural magnetism through the kind of metaphorical volcanoes that we have been through over the course of the year? This month, we may be seeing the fruits of that. We may be actually having access to it. Maybe it will be finally kind of broken open or shifting and moved so that we can see it for ourselves, finally. And I did want to share a bit about the magnetite as well, because this was such a specific symbol in the meditation. I feel like we could receive some insight from what the spiritual meaning around the magnetite is, which is what is mostly making up the magnetic sand. And let's see from thecrystalcouncil.com what they say about the magnetite. And this can be sharing around the energy for this month ahead, what we may need to know. And the magnetite seems to be part of that. So the magnetite is a very powerful stone that activates our entire chakra system. Working with this stone will help realign our chakras and remove any blockages that may be between them. It helps one stay grounded and connected to the earth, while also bringing down any ideas or feelings that weigh constantly on your mind. Magnetite helps attract the energy you output and is here to provide one with a reflection of themselves. This stone helps one see themselves from a different perspective than they're used to, and provides one with the evidence needed to then make a change. By changing certain aspects of your ways, one will soon realize the difference in energy the universe channels to them daily. Magnetite is a powerful protection stone. It's a mineral that provides a steel curtain around one's aura. It is a very strong manifestation tool that can help one on the path to their dreams and desires. Aside from attracting similar energies you put out, this crystal also enhances any intention you set into it. Magnetite helps one follow the path to their desires while staying focused and avoiding the everyday distractions. And I wanted to read that because it really lines up with the insight that I was receiving from the meditation, and very aligned with the energy that I am feeling for this month ahead. And then with that imagery of kind of moving our hands through, looking for, moving it around the sand, the magnetic sand, and the magnetic sand coming back together as we're moving it apart, the month does feel like so much of our life could be moving back together, almost shifting and moving in a way that is already happening, that we need to allow. And I feel like that's why the imagery was not pushing our hands into the sand. It was moving the sand, kind of digging the hands in, but very lightly moving the sand away, kind of looking for something, but allowing the sand to move our hands to, working with this magnetic sand. Because we are not meant to be pushing this month. That doesn't mean we're not supposed to be doing anything, but it means that if we feel like we are pushing for something, how can we allow it? How can we release that control, that insane effort, and picture, well, how could this be easier? How could I let this be easier? What am I doing to make this more complicated? What am I resisting instead of just allowing it to happen? There may be some truth that needs to come to you, some new realizations around why you aren't allowing this month. And that could be in the way of your natural magnetism. So, really allowing ourselves to do without, as I said, like the overthinking and the overanalyzing, that this is not a month for just sitting and daydreaming and visualizing the future and dreaming about what will be. This doesn't feel like the time for that. And there is a time for that, but not this month. This month feels like trusting that you have done that and that you already know, that your heart and your energy already knows the target. But you also know that all you have is right now. So honoring today in September, every day in September, not just being in the present, but actually each day, paying attention to when you're not focused on where you are in the day. It feels like the energy of really appreciating our day in the details, appreciating the light hitting the plant in your room in such a beautiful way, appreciating these small details of your living life, of what you get to experience every day. Something that I have seen online that's been going around that you may have seen too is the idea that what if today is the best day you've ever had? That mindset of going into your day with, what if today is the best day I will ever have. And telling yourself that helps you look for the best things in your day. And it doesn't allow the annoying, challenging, bad, not great, maybe even horrible things lead you in your day to look for how the day could be the best. That really feels like a big part of this month is appreciating the details of how incredible your day is. And if you immediately think, well, that's impossible because my life is pretty horrible right now, that's why this is important. Even if you can get a glimpse of that perspective in a horrible day, will help you. It's not about ignoring the bad, but it's remembering the good too, bringing a balance because we can be overly critical about what is not happening, what we're not doing, what we did wrong, what they did wrong, what they aren't doing. It's so easy to get caught up in the spiral of what is not going well, to put it lightly. That's pretty easy. And so this month, it feels like let's pay attention to what we do, what we can do each day for what we desire, for the people around us. How are you living? This is a time to be grounded and not just grounded in your energy, but grounded in reality in your life right now. It's too easy to get caught in our memories and in our future, and also in somebody else's memories and somebody else's future. This feels like insight around on how we consume other people's lives through different apps, right? Like it's so easy to be a witness to somebody else's life, to what other people are doing, to their celebrations, to their challenges. And there is a beautiful place for that. It can be really helpful, those parasocial relationships, but they can also completely shield and overshadow our lives and what we're paying attention to. So, how can you be more present, but not just in the present, but how can you literally pay more attention to your day and what you're doing and what is around you and how incredible being alive is? And then the next thing that came into the meditation, yes, we're still talking about the meditation. That was a big imagery and symbolism to go into. But the next thing that came through were two big lightning bolts in the sky. And when I was writing the details and kind of the notes after the meditation, when I was writing that down, I thought, oh, that does line up with kind of the imagery around eclipse season. And we do have two eclipses this month, and eclipses can cause a lot of fear around sudden change and, lightning striking and not great things happening in our lives. It can create a lot of instability when you are hearing about them astrologically. But I will say, remember, eclipses, like Mercury retrograde, happen every year, multiple times. So you have been through many, and you have survived them if you're listening to this, and you will be okay. And to check in with that fear, meaning pay attention to when you find yourself feeling fear or scared around something in the astrological weather around us that is causing a lot of fear within you. Why? Like, pay attention to it. What are you afraid of? Why? Why are you scared? And like I said, where we have been through so many different times with this kind of weather, but also when there are big changes or sudden things happening in our lives, we have been through that. So you can look at your past. If you are really afraid for some reason, don't worry about that fear. Just pay attention to it. Where can you look at in your past to find evidence that whatever big life-changing things happened, you made it out alive? And maybe even something lovely came out of it. And to really respect yourself enough to know that you can handle anything in your life. And that when changes do happen, they don't always have to be bad. So, putting astrology aside, let's talk about lightning. And because there were two strikes of lightning, a pair. Now, if I'm saying this and you're feeling scared, like, oh no, one thing after the other, pay attention to that fear. And like I just said, pay attention. Ask yourself what you're afraid of and why, and nurture yourself. Give yourself some love that you are going to be okay because you are okay now. And you have been through a lot, I can imagine, as most of us have. But also, why does lightning striking have to be bad? Yes, it could be sudden change, but winning the lottery is a sudden change. Yes, it could mean something unexpected comes out of the blue and breaks something apart, but maybe that needed to be broken to find whatever was waiting within it. So I do feel like these two lightning bolts in the sky are opportunities or showing an opportunity this month where paying attention to our initial reaction, to our default reaction to change. Is it always fear first? Is it superstition? Because that means your nervous system could use some care. So if you are finding some fear coming up as I'm speaking about, even just lightly about how people feel about eclipses or with this lightning energy, pay attention to your nervous system. Why do you not feel safe right now? Why does any change or sudden change feel so scary when you are most likely incredibly prepared for it because you have been before? Where are you not believing you are secure and safe and can take care of yourself, regardless of what happens in your life? Where are you not trusting? This is the month that you will find a lot of that. And as I'm saying that, I'm even seeing again in my mind's eye that digging through that magnetic sand. That may be what we are finding. We're finding our safety and security, our valuable inner strength and grounded center, our deep trust in ourselves. And nothing has more magnetism than trust. Trusting others, trusting your loved ones, trusting yourself, trusting over anyone else's opinion. That is magnetic. That is your magnetic sand. that is completely such a beautiful part of what we can find on the other side of fear is trust. But twos always remind me of synchronicities as well, meaningful coincidences. And as I was saying, lightning doesn't have to mean, the wrath, the horrible change that feels like some kind of tower moment destruction. It can mean knowledge, truth, sudden inspiration, the voice of God, like divine guidance, big expansion in spiritual energy. It can mean so many things, but it does mean, whatever it is, that it is powerful and it is deeply impactful. So pay attention to when that energy is happening within your life this month, because you want to pay attention to it. You want to make sure that you are taking care of yourself through it. And you want to make sure that you are not resisting the change because of fear of the unknown, that you are allowing, that you are not stopping, that you are continuing. The growth this month is huge. Do not allow these changes to stop you. Allow them to inspire you. Allow them to remember the depth of strength you have. Allow them to let you reflect on when you have gone through something similar or worse or even as good and how you held it. Use this impact, this lightning, whatever the change is, allow it to remind you of how you can do it. You can keep going. Keep going. Any big lightning strikes of change this month, whether it be new knowledge, realization, an ability opening up, a new talent discovered, a big change in your life, in your love or career or home, it is all for you to remember that you are in charge of your life and you can move through it because this is just part of your life. That this lightning is creating a deep and big expansion. So take care of your nervous system, take care of yourself. Do not allow any fear to stop you. Allow the fear to bring trust. Another word for trust could be courage, because you trust yourself enough to do it with the fear. So it's a big month of knowing that you're prepared. Just remind yourself, any fear that comes from any big changes, just remind yourself, I am ready for this. I'm ready for my life. And maybe that's why we're paying so much attention to each day this month, and that the guidance was there for that. Because then we can really be alive and be grounded and centered and ready. Not bracing, but ready and open for whatever is coming, because there is a lot of unknown this month. A lot. But we are going to be also finding out so much. And if something big does happen, if it does feel like lightning has struck, like the lightning has struck, and maybe it isn't super positive, I feel like sharing that you don't have to find the meaning. You don't have to find the reason. That doesn't feel like the invitation this month. That some sudden, big, life-changing events could happen. But it's about reminding us about our strength and our wisdom and our talents and ourselves and our deep magnetism. So for some of us, we may need to remember that this month, that not everything happens for a reason. I don't feel that some things just happen. But because of our beautiful hearts and minds and souls, we as human beings, we find the meaning in hindsight. We can if we want to. It doesn't mean that's what it was for. It doesn't mean that's the reason it happened. It means some things do just happen, but then we can find the meaning in them with our beautiful souls. We find the meaning. I feel like that's what art is. That art is us making meaning of what feels without reason or unknowable. That's when our soul and spirit and our creativity and our beautiful energy can start to make something out of it. So if you're searching for a reason this month, make art instead. Maybe that's why I'm sharing that as we move forward in September, find yourself in something that you're like, I didn't ask for this to happen, and you feel scared. Express yourself. Write, draw, sing. Find the meaning for yourself this month if you need to. Look within and trust your intuition can lead you to the meaning for you. A big way to soothe and regulate your nervous system is by creative expression. So something to remember for this month. Do you need to do something creative? I know I talk about it a lot. It comes through a lot. But I do find that, at least for me, my intuition and my creativity, they come from the same place. So it makes a lot of sense that our creative energy would also calm and soothe our nervous system, our electrical panel within our bodies, because we are transmuting that energy into creativity. We're expressing it, we're releasing it. A great way to think about it, if you do not think you're creative, just get a pen and start drawing, doodling in quotation marks, because I don't really think anything is a doodle. We're always drawing something, but just start doodling and see how you feel. Doodle for 2 minutes. Just draw squares or circles, spirals, whatever comes from your hand, and then see how you feel after. September could be the doodle month. This is the month for it. And then one more thing before we get to the animal for September, there was a highlight of energy around our solar plexus. So in September, care for your solar plexus, your inner sun, about 3 inches above your belly button. And even if you place your hands, rub them together, get some heat going, and then place your hands on your solar plexus and just do some nice breaths, that can be very supportive. But of course, any different stretching that you love to do, there's so many different meditations to help unblock and balance, yoga positions, practitioners, healing, massage. Solar plexus is a big, big part of the energy field that I work with my clients. And yeah, just pay attention. Tend to this beautiful inner sun where we hold our trust and our light and our self-expression, but we can also feel our indecisiveness and uncertainty and deep anxiety. And most of us do really need to care for this part of our energy, especially during big changes in our lives. And in September, it feels like whether it is very obvious changes or shifting or more subtle, we need to prepare and take care of our energy, and our solar plexus is a big part of connecting to and kind of rooting into, grounding into our trust. And I will put in the show notes my Reiki healing meditation for the solar plexus. It's only about 10 minutes. And there's a system of a Reiki where I'm able to hold it in the recording for you to receive. And if you've never tried something like that, give it a try. Have a listen and see how you feel. You may be quite happy with the shifts in your body afterwards. All right. And now, after all of that, so much happening in September, let's connect to the animal. And the animal that came through in the meditation for September is the crow, the beautiful, magical, mysterious, powerful crow Love a crow, one of my favorites, and we haven't had the crow in a while. So let's connect to how the crow can inspire us. The crow represents the energy of inner transformation, life's mystery, courage, intelligence, ancestral wisdom, trusting your magic, authenticity, family, community, adaptability, problem solving, and deep knowing. So, everything that I just shared, what did it bring you to in your life? What is that crow energy spotlighting in your life, guiding you towards? And I did want to share an excerpt about the crow from Animal Speak by Ted Andrews. They share a great amount of insight around the crow. And this excerpt felt like the one to share for September. So, again, as I share, how does it connect for you? What does it remind you of? What part stands out? Crows have a great mythology about them. This can reflect not only past life connections to those times and cultures, but it also reflects some of the archetypal forces that it can connect us with. As with many animals, crows also have been known to predict tornadoes, rain, and other changes in weather by the way they fly. Working with crows can help you to see how the winds are going to blow into your life and how to adjust your own life flights. Crows have long been considered magical. Wherever crows are, there is magic. They are symbols of creation and spiritual strength. They remind us to look for opportunities to create and manifest the magic of life. They are messengers calling to us about the creation and magic that is alive within our world every day and available to us. And that really reminds me as well of some astrologers have pointed out that in eclipse season, when the moons are full and new, but during eclipse time, that it's not time to do any manifestation rituals or any kind of dream vision scripting. It is a time to allow creation and your manifestations to unfold. And it really feels like that is part of the crow's magic as well. That they are messengers calling to us about the creation and magic that is alive within our world every day and available to us. And then before I share the intuitive questions to help you integrate all of this insight and to help you just move even deeper into your own inner knowledge for the month ahead, I wanted to touch on some of the energy for this week, the first week of September. And not a lot, just one big aspect that was different about this first week when I brought that intention into the meditation. The animal is the same. The crow is for the first week of September and for all of September and everything else I shared. But specifically for the first week, I saw an image of two tongues, and it wasn't anything kind of grotesque or strange. It was just two tongues working as one, but there were two. And right away, it felt like, okay, this feels like a message for some of us, some guidance for some of us, that this week we may need to pay attention to what we say, but a lot more attention than usual. We might be saying one thing, but actually thinking or believing another, maybe being different, like speaking differently around different people, depending on where we are, using different tongues with different people to feel more safe. It really feels like we need to be cautious of that this week, to be ourselves, to say what we need to say, but not more than we need to say, to be cautious with our words, to not have more than one tongue, that having that imagery of two tongues, it feels like this week some of us could have more weight in what we say, that our words could carry a lot more weight than we understand. So for this first week of September, pay attention to what you say And honestly, it actually feels like don't be a jerk this week if you can help it. It might be easier to be a jerk, to use your second tongue. It might be easier than being kind. So remember the weight of your words and yeah, just don't be a jerk. We can all be a jerk sometimes. This week, try not to be. You don't ever regret being kind. If you have, then that means that you weren't being kind. That means you were kind of being nice, expecting something in return. Your kindness was conditional. Yeah, so you were just being nice. That's not kindness. And I feel like, if you're an adult, then you almost always regret when you're being a jerk, not being kind. Maybe it feels good in the moment, but then you usually regret it. Like, why did you have to react that way? So a bit of a funny message for the energy update of just the specific week of don't be a jerk if you can help it. Watch your words. Watch your tongue this week. Watch your tongues. Your words could carry a lot of weight. So choose them wisely. All right. So, yes, a big month ahead. And here are some intuitive questions, some journal prompts to help you connect even deeper into the energy of the month and to yourself. And you can answer all of them or one of them. Trust what resonates. But the first question you could ask could be, where can you look in your past to find evidence that whatever big life change you made it out alive and maybe even better? So, where in your past did something huge and life changing happen, but you made it out alive because you're listening to this? You made it through. And then what happened after? Give yourself some evidence that you can handle anything and maybe even get excited about it. And then a second question could be, write down in detail your natural magic, your essence, your sparkle. What makes you a magnet, which is your authentic, natural self. So describe it. Describe your natural magic, the sparkle, your essence, and try to do it without judgment in as much detail as you can. Why are you fantastic? And then a third question, this is kind of a part 2 of the first, if the first one didn't connect as easily. When has your courage helped you soar in the past? Remind yourself what that experience was like. When has your courage helped you soar in the past? Remind yourself what that experience was like. And then a fourth question, and I hope you answer this one because I feel like it's really important for this month. What would a miracle in your life feel like? This is not describing what the miracle is. Don't describe what happened. But ask yourself, what would a miracle feel like? And then, have you felt that before? After you describe it, when have you felt that before? Okay, so yes, September. September is a big month. But don't worry, I will be back every week to share more insight and guidance for each week of September so we can go through it together. I would love to hear if you resonated with the energy that I'm feeling and that we're moving through for September. And any thoughts or questions, please don't hesitate to send me a message. If you're curious about working with me, I offer so many different ways to support you, and go to the show notes because everything you need is there to explore it all. And yes, hugely appreciated if you subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And if you feel called to give some support, please share this episode with a friend or you could leave a review. That is super helpful. So thank you again. Be kind to yourself, and I will talk to you next week.
Hi, Auntie Mary. I just wanted to say something very, very meaningful. Cat.